Hello and welcome back to another movie review. Tonight, I finally got around to watching Smurfs 2. I don't know why I watched Smurfs 2, considering how much I hated the first Smurfs, but it's pretty much the only thing I haven't seen up until the stuff that's opening in a couple days. And I get to see it for free. If I had to pay for it, I probably wouldn't have saw it at all. I grew up watching the Smurfs. I was a big fan of the Smurfs, but when they made the first movie, 2 seconds into it, I was just done with it. It pissed me off that much. Eventually, I may do a review on the first Smurfs movie. It was actually something I planned to do when I first started this site. It was on my list of the original 3 movie reviews I was going to do that I just never got around to. So, obviously, if I'm going to do a review on that one, I probably should watch the sequel and do a review on that. Unfortunately, you get the sequel's review before you get the original's review, which seems to be the way it's going with most of my sequel reviews. Anyway, Smurfs 2 was better than the first one, but considering how much the first one sucked, that's really not saying a whole hell of a lot for it. Basically, when I first saw the preview for this, and I saw, okay, Gargamel creates these naughties, and they're going to try and get Smurfette to turn naughty. And the whole time I'm thinking, why would Gargamel try this for a 3rd time? You know, if you follow the original Smurfs cartoon, or even the comic strip before it became a cartoon, Gargamel created Smurfette. Smurfette was originally a naughtier version of a Smurf. She still had blue skin, but she had black hair, and because there were no other female Smurfs, she actually had to disguise herself as a boy Smurf to infiltrate the village. Once they found out that she was an evil creation by Gargamel, the Smurfs' overwhelming love is what turned her into the good Smurfette with the blonde hair. Actually, if you watch the movie Donnie Darko, he does a really good explanation of it, and the Smurfs in general. So, you know, and then later on, if you continue to follow the Smurfs, Gargamel tried again, and that was the creation of Sasset, who does not exist in the Smurfs movies. In fact, none of the Smurflings exist in this rendition of the Smurfs. So they kind of ignored the fact that Sasset even exists. But when the movie opens, they do tell the story of how Smurfette came to be, and that Gargamel created her, and she was originally evil but became good. But when they're telling this story, they show the evil Smurfette as being gray-skinned, which she never was. They're just doing that to show that she relates to the naughties that are created. So then, for some reason, Gargamel is still on Earth, which I really wasn't paying attention in the first Smurfs movie, but I thought he got sent back to the Smurfs' time or dimension or whatever when they went. But for some reason, he's back on Earth, and he's this hugely successful magician now. It doesn't show him create the naughties. Once they first appear, they're already created. They've been living with him for a while. You know, they're his children. He's their father, type of thing. Basically, the whole thing is he's trying to find out how to turn the naughties into true blue Smurfs. Because since they're not real Smurfs, he's not able to draw their essence. So he wants to be able to turn them into real Smurfs, so that he can just keep creating these naughties, convert them into true blue Smurfs, and then just drain the essence, and then he doesn't have to deal with Smurf Village anymore, and the real Smurfs. He'll just create his own Smurfs and use those for his magic. So, he's disappointed in the fact that when he created these new naughties that they weren't true blue. So he comes up with this plan that, let's get Smurfette and she can tell us the formula that Papa Smurf used to turn her blue. Which, again, was never in the original. She was never gray. She was always blue when she was created. She just wasn't a real Smurf until Papa Smurf changed her. So, they go back and kidnap Smurfette. They bring her into the real world, and at first they're kind of mean to her, but then they're like, well, let's trick her into being like us. So they start being friendly to her, and she kind of lightens up and starts being friendly back to them, and they realize, she's not so bad, being good's not so bad type of thing. And Smurfette does kind of go towards the naughty side, but at the same time, she's never fully gone back to the naughty side. She still has, her Smurf, her good Smurf intuition. So, but throughout the movie, Gargamel and the naughties are trying to convince her that Papa Smurf didn't come for her. He's never going to. You should just stay here with us because we're family. So, Papa Smurf does come for her. He ends up at Neil Patrick Harris's house. Neil Patrick Harris is still with his wife. His son's older. And his stepfather comes to the son's birthday party. And then you find out this backstory about Neil Patrick Harris's character's real father left. The stepfather came in, tried to raise him as his own and accept him. But for some reason, Neil Patrick Harris's character can't stand his stepfather and thinks that he ruins everything. Which at first he does kind of screw up a few things, but the reason he did it was because he was trying to help out. So the Smurfs are going around looking for Smurfette. They eventually find her, but the naughties, they have to ingest a little bit of Smurf essence every day to stay alive, otherwise they'll die. So when it comes time for them to feed again, Gargamel starts letting them die and telling Smurfette, you're the only one that can save them by giving me the formula. She gives him the formula. He makes them into true blue Smurfs. And then that's when Papa Smurf finally finds her and comes in to rescue her. And she's like, oh, Papa, you came for me after all. He says, of course I did. You're my daughter. Then she says, well, I went against our original deal, the secret that you gave me of the formula. And I gave it to Gargamel. And Papa says, that doesn't matter now as long as you're safe. So eventually, through the help of Neil Patrick Harris, his character, and his stepfather, the Smurfs are all freed. They all go back to Smurf Village. They take the new naughties with them, who are now true blue, so they're real Smurfs now. They get back to Smurf Village, and it's Smurfette's birthday, so they throw her a big party, and she says, well, welcome my sister and my brother as well. So at first they're kind of like, really the only one who doubts them is Brainy. He kind of says, we can't just really accept him into the village. And then I think it was Hefty told him, just give him a kick. So the boy, Naughty, kicks him and he flies away. And then they just have a party. So there's 2 new Smurfs in Smurf Village. Then the credits start to roll for a minute, but then it comes back and it actually has Gargamel getting sent back to the Smurf realm dimension thing. He gets pulled back through the portal. And at first Azrael's sitting on the edge of the fountain laughing at him, and he reaches back through the portal and grabs him and says, you're coming too. So then the portal closes, so obviously they're back in their proper place, and credits roll again. So that's basically the movie. Like I said, it's completely stupid and pointless, but it was better than the first one. The first one just pissed me off so bad. But I'll get into that at a later time. As far as the star rating goes, I'm just going to give this one like a 2. The original I probably would give like a 1.5, but this one's slightly better than the original, but not enough to give it a good rating, so I'm going to give it a 2. Do I recommend it? Only if you really liked the first one, but if you're a fan of the Smurfs from like the 80s like I am, then don't waste your time with this. It's garbage. Yeah, so other than that, that's the Smurfs. Not recommended unless you really liked the first one. So, yeah, that's it for this review. I'm not sure what I'm going to get around to next. Still waiting to kind of see what my new schedule is going to be. And then I'll know what movies I can watch and when. So until then, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the movies.